So the video some of you might have been waiting on already. This is the Huawei Ascend Mate 2 compared next to the LG G Flex. So in the last video I did with a comparison of two monster phones, there were some issues about it, but this time we're going to use all the same applications. This is Android, so we're going to use Chrome. We're going to open some other browsers, open some other applications to test out and see how quickly the phones are processing. So we all know that the LG G Flex has a much higher processor and a much faster processor, but let's just see how it is under day-to-day use. So I'm going to turn on Wi-Fi, and the G Flex already has Wi-Fi turned on. So both on Wi-Fi. So we're now going to open up the Chrome browser. Close it out real quick. Make sure all tasks are cleared. All right, so we're going to open up the Chrome browser on 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we're going to go to a web page, and the browser's caches have been cleared out. So we're going to type in CNN, and then we're going to find it, and we're going to hit this on the same time and try to on 1, 2, 3. So you can see the G Flex processing a little bit faster. It does have the faster processor. So I'm going to scroll down and click on this link right here that says to bin or something like that. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. So even though the G Flex has a much faster processor, it doesn't seem to matter much because you're still getting the very quick performance. Now, how does this look to you on camera? The G Flex has a 720 display and the Huawei has a 720 display. But remember how when I compared the Note next to the G Flex looked real dim. So now we have it next to the Huawei Ascend Mate, and the Huawei Ascend Mate looks dim compared to the G Flex. So this is what we talked about before in the other video, where displays, these actually have the same displays. This is AMOLED though, and this is IPS. So technically if I crank the brightness up, the IPS might be a little bit brighter, but we have them both set to all the way down in the brightness. So now let's go to a different website. I'm going to type in Phone Arena. Phone Arena. There it is right there. So we're going to go in 1, 2, 3. And this web page is a full website. They don't have a mobile website, and you can see how quickly the pages are rendering. So as you can see, the slower processor, and they're both still loading, but the slower processor is still able to hang with the faster processor. And in day-to-day use, you really can't tell. You can't tell. No one could be able to tell you that these had different processors in just real-world tests like this, because processing power, it means a lot, but when it's doing the task that a day-to-day end user would do, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The G Flex is obviously loading just a smidget faster, but the Huawei Ascend Mate is still a very powerful device. So we're going to zoom in here. We're going to click on this one here that says Windows 9. I'm going to do it here. I'm going 1, 2, 3. So that extra processing power on the G Flex gives it that little bit of edge. But again, in day-to-day use, are you really going to focus on that? They're still very powerful. They're still processing all the same information, and it still looks beautiful on either display. So let's close out of here. I'm going to open some applications. We're going to find the Twitter app on there, and we're going to open it on 1, 2, 3. So Twitter seems to be an application that takes a little bit of time to load, but actually the Huawei Ascend Mate loaded it a little faster that time. But why is that? It could be several other things loading on this one that's not loading on this one. So let's close out of there and let's go to Instagram. And we're going to go to 1, 2, 3. I hit that one a little late, but still I hit it late, but look at the processing power there. So let me see what else. Oh, we have our Bible application. Let's open up the Bible application on 1, 2, 3. I think that might have been dead on. So the G Flex pulls way ahead on the Bible application. So whatever's processing there, the G Flex is pulling it a lot faster, and that's that extra boost of power coming from the G Flex. So let's put our brightness to 50% and auto. Or we can just put it at 50%. And you can see the difference here in the screens. So let's go back into Chrome. And now you can see The Huawei screen with an IPS display and the LG G Flex with the AMOLED display, I can only refer back to the Note and the G Flex when the G Flex looked real dull and gray or bluish tint, but next to the Huawei, the G Flex looks really bright. So that's good. So we're going to click on a couple more web browsing links here. Let's go home, and then we'll click on another link. Let's go into this one here. There we go. So we're going to click on this iOS link here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. You click. It didn't click on this one either. I think the G Flex still. Oops, it was loading. Wow. I guess it was loading. But all in all, the test with the browser is to prove that even though a device is spec'd a certain way, does not mean that it's going to be that much less powerful than the other. So let's get on to a more comparison as far as features and the way the devices look. So looking at the G Flex, it has a 6.6-inch display, and it's a 720 display, just like the Huawei. And it has this curved design. All the G Flex buttons are on the back, and the Huawei has theirs the traditional way on the sides. The Huawei has a 6.1-inch display, and the G Flex has a 6-inch display. So I'm going to turn on a video on YouTube for both, and let's play that video. I'm going to load up this video. I'm going to let it play on both.
As promised, here is the unboxing of the Huawei Ascend Mate Bluetooth speaker, the mini one. Let's jump right in.
Put that one up.
Let's see what they sent me. Should be a white one in here. That's what I got.
Got the little 3D effect going. This is just to show you the quality of both screens. That's all it is. They both look beautiful. They're both 720.
So we're gonna, it's Huawei branded, that's pretty cool.
Trying to get these lined up in the camera here.
There was a special promotion that none of us knew about for a free Bluetooth headset or speaker that they sent you.
So there it is. There's a little bit of video quality with both devices. Both beautiful devices, and both have a heck of a lot to offer when it comes to being in a smartphone game. So what's the difference between the two? Well, some pluses about the G Flex is the curved display. The camera quality is fantastic. But let's do a live demo. I'll just do a live demo. Let's take a picture of the same thing. Let's go to camera here. What the hell is the camera? We got to hit it. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. I'm going to take a picture. We're going to put this on 13 megapixels because it defaults down. I'm going to take a picture here of the speaker. All right. Picture of the speaker. And you're going to see that camera quality there. You can see it there. Now I'm going to take a picture with the Huawei. Super fast shutter. And you can see the difference in the quality. Let's hold them up here. There you go. So both phones have great cameras. That wasn't to say that one was better than the other. I actually do prefer the camera on the Huawei better. It has better low light, and the cameras on the macro side for the Huawei is a lot sharper. But they both have 13 megapixel cameras. Another difference is the cameras are, there's a 5 megapixel on the front. You can actually, it has a very wide angle on the Huawei. And the G Flex has a pretty good camera as well on the front. So, back to the G Flex. The G Flex has a lot to offer. It's got a really loud speaker, but the Huawei has a loudspeaker. The screen on the G Flex is pretty sharp, and the screen on the Huawei is sharp. I'm gonna tilt down a little bit, guys. Okay. So, what's the difference? Well, there isn't much difference. They both have nice displays. They both have great build quality. They both look good. They both have 6-inch displays. This one has a 6.1-inch display. So the Huawei, this has 32 gigs built in, no SD card slot. The Huawei has 16 gigs built in, removable back cover, and I can put a 64 gig card in there. Also, the G Flex does not have a removable battery, and it's also 3400 and 3500. The Huawei is 3900 and 4050. Tons of power coming out of the Huawei. I've tested both phones. The Huawei, I got 9 hours of screen on time and a day and a half on one charge. The G Flex, I was only able to get about 6 hours, I believe, at best, and it made it for a solid 22 to 24 hours. So obviously the Huawei has a bigger battery, so it's going to be a lot more powerful, and it can. But I think the way they have the power saving mode on the Huawei, it really outshines the G Flex because it has endurance mode. Let's go into endurance mode. So it has power saving, and then I keep it in endurance mode, and it can tell me how much, more I can get on the battery. I could turn it to smart and get 25 hours. I can turn it down to normal and still get another 23 hours out of this battery. So I like that about the Huawei. It really, really, really shines in a lot of ways. So which one would I choose for daily use? The G Flex obviously is one of my top devices. It's extremely nice. I like it. But the Huawei, I can use it all weekend. I used this device all weekend and I didn't charge it. I had to charge it because I started watching movies, a lot of movies. I started streaming a lot. The G Flex, on the other hand, loud speaker. You could kind of hear how much louder it was compared to the Huawei when they were side by side. So it's a hard thing to choose, but the problem as to why the G Flex kind of gets the downside is because of the price. The G Flex costs nearly double what the Huawei costs. The G Flex, if you buy it unlocked, it's about $700. If you buy the factory unlocked one, it's about $700. If you get it through T-Mobile right now, it's actually down to $528. You can also get it for $408 refurbished. Well, the Huawei is $299 factory unlocked with LTE for all the GSM carriers. And if you see my other videos, Huawei's giving away some great things with it to get it to kind of take over this phablet game. Huawei's giving away this Bluetooth speaker if you have a promotion code, a case, reverse charging, a phone, and a free month of service. Now, the G Flex obviously is one of my top devices. It performs better than the Huawei in a small way. It's just a little bit faster to the punch. But is it worth paying $700, depending on where you're located, or $600 or $500 when you can go directly to Huawei and get a 6.1-inch display, IPS, unlocked, LTE for $299 and a bunch of free things to go with it? I'll let you decide. This is a great comparison. Hope you enjoyed it. LG, the champion, I guess I should say, with Huawei giving a great device to the market, challenging all the big competitors here. I was kind of surprised when I first looked at this off camera, but I wanted to be fair and view it on camera because the screen on the LG G Flex just looks fantastic next to this IPS display on the Huawei. It's like I was giving before the example. It looks weird that the G Flex looked dull next to the Note 3, and now the Huawei looks dull next to the G Flex. Well, which one do you like? Which one would you choose? Are you gonna go for a quad core processor, clocked a little down, less than this one, with a lot of extras at a much lower price, and it's still a powerhouse? Or would you take the G Flex over the Huawei? The name brand is well known in the US. They bring great products. Which one do you like? I like them both. I'll let you decide. I'll see you guys in the next video.